Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show before the free show. It's a Monday.
Yeah, it's so Monday. Do I look okay? Oh, well, don't answer that, honestly. Hello, everybody. I'm Greg. That's Ashley. And this is the pre-show before the free show. This is when we take 5 minutes to talk about nonsense that's usually not football. But we have football-adjacent stuff to talk about today.
Do we?
Pickle. Well, I don't know. You tell me. Dateline. Southern Utah University in scenic Cedar City, Utah. Okay? Home of the... Oh, God. Thunderbirds. The Southern Utah Thunderbirds. I bring this up because this past weekend, I think everybody knows that here at Texas Football Today, we cover two things. We cover football in the state of Texas, and we cover Utah 8-man football. I think everyone knows this, right?
Yeah. That's our brand.
So as you know, you and I both locked in this week on the 8-man football state championship at Southern Utah between Monticello and Rich.
Yeah, I knew those were a thing.
So, Pickle, how do football games... Let me ask you a question. Do you feel like flipping a coin is old-fashioned?
I mean, yeah, but in a good way.
So, the football game starts flipping a coin, call in the air. Heads, you get the choice of receive.
Seems like the most efficient
kick.
way to do it.
Right. But what if I were to tell you that it's not the coolest way to do it?
That I could believe.
Let's go to Southern Utah University for the way that they determined the first possession. In lieu of a coin toss, they had the courage to go with this.
They have had different opponents, different quality of play as well.
Yeah, as we get the football drop here, probably send out your best punt return man for a situation like this. And wow, it's already getting competitive out there. Would you look at that?
That should be Rich possession. He had the inside track for it, and then both kind of went down.
Well, there you go. I would hate to see an injury on something like that.
What are we doing?
No. The question is...
What are we doing with the coin flip?
Yeah.
That is so much cooler.
How is that not a thing?
That should be industry standard.
So they dropped a football from a helicopter, and the captains for Rich and Monticello were there to grab it. Now, old school people may remember the original XFL. The original XFL had a human coin toss where they would put the ball at midfield and then they'd race from like 20 yards away to go grab it. But somebody dislocated their shoulder the first time they ever did it. I feel like this needs to be a thing. That
was awesome. And you know how much more pressure that puts on being a captain? Like, yeah, rah, go.
Oh, you're a team leader.
Yeah, a team leader, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, get out there and prove your worth. Our captains would look a lot different than what they do right now.
Yeah.
You're not seeing a quarterback be a captain at that point. You want a big nasty that's fairly quick out there. Yeah. Like, I'm talking tight ends, linebackers. That's got linebacker written
Miles
all
Garrett
over
would have
it.
been the greatest at that ever. Like Miles Garrett, like a phenom edge rusher.
Yeah, we're weak.
This is a missed opportunity. We are getting beat by Utah right now. Utah. By the way, Rich recovered the football.
Thank goodness.
Built a 43-6 lead at halftime and won 50-14 to win the state championship. And now Rich has it's the fifth time that Rich and Monticello have met in the state championship. But who cares? Congratulations to the Rich Rebels, not just for the state championship, but also for winning what has to be the best coin toss alternative I've ever seen. Let's get helicopters. We have helicopters. I see them all the time. There's no shortage of helicopters. Let's make it happen, people. I'm going to write a letter to the UIL about this.
Yeah, get good.
Hit the theme expo. Yes, y'all. From the new Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, a show with playoff fever. My name is Greg Tupper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live, TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all the places, or you listen to us on the podcast, which you could subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She's the Duchess of the Dorks, Miss 305. She is the person I would trust most in this office to fly our helicopter.
Yeah.
She's Ashley Pickle.
Being a pilot would have been cool.
Like a helicopter pilot?
Yeah, any kind of pilot.
I got a buddy who's a Navy helicopter pilot.
Yeah.
And
I'm on the side of
he's a badass, to be clear.
Yeah, I'm on the side of TikTok where for whatever reason they started showing like these awesome female fighter pilots, and I was like, that would have been cool. Like, why didn't I do that?
It seems like
I love my job, but you know how much cooler it is to fly fighter jets than it is to sit here with you?
Don't love the way that you phrase that. I'm going to give that a C-.
You know, if the shoe fits.
Today is Monday, November 18th, 2024. Folks, it's 10 days to Thanksgiving.
I kept getting... Well, the other side of this is I'm
Boy,
stressed.
that was a I don't even know what I would describe, like a grunt.
Okay, well, I kept getting like a ton of wedding texts from all our vendors today, and I'm like, what in the world is going on? And I realized, we're 2 months away. And then you tell me that we're a mere 2 work weeks away from Thanksgiving. It's getting real, folks.
Girl, we're 10 days away.
Ay.
Happy birthday to, let's see. Is that right? Yeah, happy birthday to Owen Wilson.
Wow.
And Caleb Williams. And Fabulous. It's episode 1817. On today's show, folks, big show.
Big beefy
I don't know if you guys saw, there's playoffs this weekend. Talk a little bit about that. Monday Morning Fallout, overreact to the football weekend. Then we're going to be joined, go down to Matagorda County. You don't got to ask me twice to go to Matagorda County. Talk with the head coach, the Van Vleck Leopards. Coach Shannon Permenter is going to join us, coming off of their big upset win over Blanco last week in a thriller. We'll talk to Shannon Permenter. Then we're going to roll out the Dave Campbell's Texan Live Top 10 Plays of the Week from the first week of the Texas High School Football Playoffs. Round it all out with This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, our Director of Recruiting. And then if you got questions, we'll answer those in mailbag final thoughts at the very end of the show. Does all that sound good to you people?
That all sounds good.
So I was waiting to hear from the people, but they're not. I can't hear them.
I think the people are saying that it sounds good.
That's good. Do we have first word through the door, speaking of the people?
We sure do. It was, everybody's commenting so much, thank you. Jersey number 69,
nice.
Joey Hill. Blindside Bass and Homan.
Yeah, buddy.
Apparently his oldest turned 16 yesterday, so.
What?
Yep.
Absolutely not.
And then Ace.
Nope.
Welcome in, friends.
Welcome in, friends. We do appreciate you spending a little bit of your day with us on this playoff reaction Monday. And boy, when there's playoffs, you know there's a lot of overreacting to do. Pickle! Hit the air raid sign. It's time for Monday Morning Fallout. Monday Morning Fallout, when we overreact to the football weekend, and if there's ever a weekend to overreact to, it might have been the first round of the Texas High School Football Playoffs.
Yeah.
We'll start with my opening kick. Opening kick. The playoffs are great, and the haters are furious.
Yes.
So, objectively, like, this is not an opinion here. This is a true fact coming from my face. The Texas High School Football Playoffs this weekend were awesome. Mm-hmm. They were so good. Okay? Like, games that we thought were going to live up to the hype absolutely did. Dickinson and Atascocita was a fantastic ball game. Coppell and Prosper was a fantastic ball game. Just huge matchups. But what is great about the first round of the playoffs is it's the games you never see coming. It's the games that you put aside and you think, I'll get to that in a moment. I'll don't worry about that. I'll see you in the next round. Instead, we had a truly wild first round of the Texas high school football playoffs. To wit, according to the Dave Campbell's Texas football computer, there were 20 teams that entered their by-district game as double-digit underdogs, okay? 10-plus points, and they won outright, okay? 20 times it happened. Furthermore, of the 352 games across the state of Texas, more than a quarter of them, the lower seed beat the higher seed. So the 4 beat the 1 or the 3 beat the 2, right? The team that was seeded higher lost 25%. To put that in comparison, the first round of the NCAA tournament has an upset rate of about 14.5%. Okay? It was chaotic. And there were huge upsets, right? Fort Bend Elkins over Shadow Creek is a jaw-dropper.
Yeah.
Pilot Point over Mahia is a jaw-dropper. In the 6-man ranks, Borden County over Buena Vista is a shocker. Manville over Fort Bend Hightower, shocker. The game that Ish was at, Coleman over Wolf City, shocker, right? The playoffs were great. But inevitably, this time of year, you get the haters who will come out and say, well, actually, I think too many teams make the playoffs. What we need is less football, and we need fewer teams getting a chance. I say no participation trophies, to which I say kick rocks. The playoffs are great. It sorts itself out on the field. If it offends you that much, close your eyes for a week, and we'll see you on Friday. It doesn't make any sense to me that people who claim to love Texas high school football would look at this and say, you know what we need? Less. We need less high-stakes football. We need less teams playing with their season on the line. We need fewer high-intensity moments. We need to give fewer teams a chance to play high-stakes football. Just doesn't make sense to me. It's a loser mentality is what it is. Let's call it what it is. Those people are haters with a loser mentality. If a team getting beat by 50, and there were blowouts, there's always blowouts. I would say that I would need to run the numbers. My guess is the same number of blowouts, same percentage of blowouts that we saw this week as like a normal week of the regular season. If that offends you so much, don't watch. Wait until the area round. But because you have this idea that we shouldn't have participation trophies for fourth place teams when there were dozens of fourth place teams that advanced in the playoffs because it offends your delicate sensibilities, that's a you problem. That's a you problem. Shout out to the Texas high school football playoffs, which remain great in spite of the haters. Let's get to Game of the Week. Game of the Week live on Dave Campbell's Texan Live. Kingwood 36, Clear Springs 35. First of all, Clear Springs scores and gets a 2-point conversion with a minute left to force overtime. Okay? Great enough. Then then they get the ball first in overtime. Clear Springs goes down, scores a touchdown, kicks the extra point, goes up 7. Goes up 35-28. Kingwood, a fourth place team, gets their possession in overtime. They had like a 3rd and 8. They converted that. Eventually score a touchdown. And Cale Melton, the head coach at Kingwood, runs his kicker out there to kick the extra point. And then in what I can only describe as the huevos moment of the weekend, Cale Melton says, give me a timeout. Give me a timeout. Calls a timeout. They come back to the huddle. And you can watch this on Texan Live. They come back to the huddle, and I don't know who does the convincing here, but Cale Melton sends his offense out there for the 2-point conversion. They line up basically in the single wing, run in for a game-winning 2-point conversion. Pandemonium, Kingwood's first playoff win, I think, in 7 years, and a absolute showstopper in the first round of the playoffs. Kingwood and Clear Springs, the final 4 minutes plus overtime of that game are wild. Mm-hmm. Absolutely wild. It's my game of the week. There were in a week where it was hard to determine one. That's my game of the week. Let's go to my play of the week. Play of the week, we're going to Peaster and Peaster taking on Comanche. Okay? Peaster and Comanche in a, 4A Division 2, is that correct? That sounds about right. 4A Division 2 a matchup. And in overtime, Peaster, who's only been playing football, I think their third varsity season, Peaster, looking for their first ever playoff victory, goes to overtime. Comanche kicks a field goal in their half of overtime, at which point the ball goes over to Peaster, at which point Leighton Kennedy found Slate Robertson, and pandemonium ensued for a historic moment for the Peaster Greyhounds. There it is. Peaster's game-winning, playoff victory, history-making throwback touchdown there, as once again Leighton Kennedy finds Slate Robertson in overtime. And you just see, I don't know, that's the kind of stuff, inject that into my veins.
Oh, yeah.
The reaction from the crowd. You can tell how much it means to that community to have that win. And yeah, it's a first-round playoff win. Nobody's gonna, they're not gonna build a statue for a first-round playoff win. But you can tell how much that means to that team, how much that means to that community to go and get their first ever playoff win. A remarkable play, and it's my play of the week. Time for the Dudes Rock Dude of the Week. Hashtag Dudes Rock for the dude who duded the hardest. It was a bad week for El Paso. El Paso almost got skunked in the playoffs. But one team won, and it was El Paso Del Valle. And a big reason why is our Dudes Rock Dude of the Week, Jake Fett, the quarterback.
This guy rocks.
Who ran 18 times for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns, threw for 209 yards and 3 touchdowns through the air as Del Valle knocked off Abilene Cooper. I believe it's Abilene Cooper's first ever loss to an El Paso team. A big doings there as El Paso Del Valle quarterback Jake Fett puts on the cape, not just for Del Valle, but also for the entire Sun City. He is my Dudes Rock Dude of the Week. Some sad news. The NFL Minute, usually seen at this time, is on a temporary hiatus. I'm not happy about it. But our chief NFL correspondent, my mom, is on location doing some deep reporting.
Oh, solid. Even better one next week.
Trying to figure out exactly, trying to get to the bottom of a big story. And by the bottom of a big story, I mean the bottom of a bottle of wine with her friends in Arkansas.
My girl.
So, unfortunately, there is no NFL Minute this weekend. But I just want you to imagine our chief NFL correspondent, my mom, giving you all the news and notes from around the National Football League in this moment. Just picture it in your mind. Okay. Stock up. Anna. Boy, talk about a 5A debut. They absolutely trounce Colleyville Heritage, on the road, mind you, and get a really, really impressive win. And I will just tell you this about Anna, okay? When you start to take a look at the brackets, that is a team, obviously, look, they're defending state champs. Move up from 4A to 5A, but they are still defending state champs. We did have one state champ go down in Timpson this weekend. But when you start to take a look at the 5A Division 2 bracket, right? They'll take on Abilene Wiley this week. I think they're favored in that game. At which point they'll play El Paso Del Valle or Lovejoy. And I'm just saying, I would love to see Anna versus Lovejoy round 2. I'd love to see Anna versus El Paso del Valle. I'm saying Anna is a team that if you thought that moving up to 5A was going to scare them, if you thought that them moving up to 5A was going to be a problem, no such luck. I think Anna is a problem. Edward Chumley, Ziondre Williams, they are cooking right now. Keep an eye on Anna. They're in the 5A Division 2 bracket. So normally we do stock down, but like if your stock's down, you're probably out of the playoffs. In case you missed it of the week, Westbrook 116, Robert Lee 110.
That's insane.
That is a real score from six-man football, obviously. Well, I mean, maybe not obviously. I don't know. 116-110 is your final there. That is, in fact, the highest scoring UIL football game, six-man football game, obviously, since at least 2002. That's how far back my records go.
Wow.
And that, by UIL, I mean 2 UIL teams playing. There have been some private school games that have been higher scoring, but from a UIL perspective, that is the 126 points is the highest, or 226 points, the highest scoring UIL six-man game in at least 22 years. Yeah. Wow. I texted Homer Matlock because I needed to find the head coach at Westbrook because I needed to find their matchup this week against Newcastle. Get their information. They're playing 7 o'clock Friday in Jayden, by the way. All the information at texasfootball.com/playoff. And I got the information and I said, how's your blood pressure? And he wrote back something along the lines of like, I hated every minute.
Which is a lot of minutes considering there were 226 points scored.
Correct.
That's a lot of minutes.
That's a long six-man game.
Yes.
Okay?
That's a long game regardless.
That's a long game regardless. Anyway. Now it's time for the Matt Step. He got that dog in him. Player of the week.
And now, the Matt Step. He got that dog in him. Player of the week.
Matt Step with Dave Campbell's Texas Football, eating a post-game meal after North Crowley defeated Byron Nelson 56-21. Here to bring you the by-district round of the Matt Step He Got That Dog in Him Award. And the winner of this week's Matt Step He Got That Dog in Him Award is none other than Abernathy freshman athlete Colt Nicoletti. In Friday night's 35-18 win over Stinnett, West Texas, the freshman ran for 3 touchdowns, 109 yards, and played a great game on defense and special teams as well. Congrats, Colt. You, sir, have got that dog in you.
This has been the Matt Step He Got That Dog in Him Player of the Week.
Thanks, Matthew. Appreciate you. Appreciate you filing that courageous report. My final shot, no clunkers allowed. There were a couple of teams that I think walked through the first half of their playoff games in the first round of the playoffs. Okay? Campbell walked through their first half against Prosper. It's a good Prosper team.
They were down like 21-0.
21-7 at half.
21-7.
Yeah. 21-7. North Crowley.
Oh, yeah.
I thought walked through their game against Byron. They almost got Grant Riz jacked.
Literally. And then they held him scoreless and dropped like 8 bajillion. But Ray Gates, I don't know if you saw the clip of him after the game, but one of the reporters like posted his pregame speech or his postgame speech to the team, and it was very evident. Like, yeah, good job, but like, we're never doing that again.
No, do not do that again. There were a number of teams that started slow, and look, it's the playoffs. You're allowed to get your feet wet. Sometimes the lights are brighter. You gotta understand it. I think you can get away with it maybe in the first round.
Yes.
And some teams did. Some teams didn't, by the way. Some teams did. We say around here, win your clunkers. When you play a bad game, just win that game, get put in the win column, move on. We are now at the point in the Texas high school football season, the Texas high school football playoffs, where if you play a clunker, it is an existential threat to your season. And it can happen to anybody. It can happen to Duncanville. Okay? It can happen to Carthage. It can happen to Gunter. It can happen to anybody. If you play a bad half, it can cost you. We are now in a clunker-free zone. If you want to play at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, you are no longer allowed to have a clunker. That is where we're at now. The stakes are higher. The teams are better. It's now time to put the pedal to the metal and make sure that you're playing your best football right now. Maybe you got away with one in week 1. in round 1. Doesn't happen if you go in round 2. That's my final shot. That's Monday Morning Fallout. We're Texas Football Today. We're here Mondays and Thursdays on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbells. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbells, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Hope you'll consider going to TexasFootball.com/subscribe. If you want to watch dozens, how many games this week on Texan Live?
Dozens.
Dozens of live Texas high school football playoff games.
30.
On TexanLive.com. You can, by becoming a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber, including some big ones we'll be revealing at a later date. TexanLive.com, but TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Makes a great gift. Thanksgiving is coming. I know you're not supposed to bring gifts, but nobody will be upset if you got them a gift.
You can let people know that you're thankful for them.
Exactly right. Yeah, show how thankful you are by going to TexasFootball.com/subscribe. I do want a small programming note for next week. Next week is the best week of the year. It's Thanksgiving week.
Yeah.
We will have... This Friday, we'll have Texas Football Tonight. Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. Normal schedule this week, I should just say. Normal schedule this week. Next week, we'll have Texas Football Today on Monday. I believe we're going to have then, the picks will go live noon on Wednesday. And then we'll have Tep and Step at its normal time on Friday. We have a truncated schedule. Holidays, I'm going to be out of town, for example. I'm driving, loading up the boys and the wife, and we're driving to St. Louis. So we've got a bit of a truncated schedule next week, but we'll still have plenty of content for you at TexasFootball.com. Texas Football Today. We will have Monday for our Thanksgiving Spectacular. We wouldn't miss that.
No.
Come on. You think I've had this turkey hat sitting behind me for a year for fun?
No, that's like my favorite show of the year.
So Monday we'll have the Thanksgiving Spectacular. Coming up here in just a moment, we're going to talk with the head coach of the Van Vleck Leopards, Coach Shannon Permenter, coming off of their big upset win over Blanco. But first, a word from these valued partners.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Potter, Executive Director of Be Well Texas. Too many people are struggling alone these days, and alcohol and drug deaths are increasing. We started Be Well Texas to offer high-quality, science-based addiction treatment and recovery services anywhere, even at home. We provide compassionate, caring support virtually or in person. In many cases, there is no cost for treatment if you don't have insurance. Really. Welcome to Be Well Texas. We're glad you're here.
30-yard line, the 20, the 10, touchdown!
Hey DFW residents, get your grocery essentials in minutes, not hours or days, with Wing Drone Delivery. Forget about last-minute trips to the store when you need things like cereal for breakfast before school, medicine for a cold, or snacks for a movie night. Wings drones get you quick, no-contact delivery in as fast as 15 minutes. Say goodbye to last-minute grocery runs and say hello to more of your valuable time. Sign up today.
Back here on Texas Football Today, I'm Greg, that's Ashley. Pickle is a wild week in the Texas high school football playoffs. Big doings down in Seguin at Matador Stadium, where the Van Vleck Leopards pulled off one of the stunners of the weekend, knocking off the Blanco Panthers. And here to talk about it is the head coach of those Van Vleck Leopards. We go to Matagorda County to talk with Coach Shannon Permenter. Coach, how are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on.
You told me via text yesterday when I asked you if you would take some time to hop on our show with us. You told me that the community is really fired up about Van Vleck Leopards football right now. How are things down there in Matagorda County these days?
Well, things are really good right now. I mean, it was the last couple of weeks have been a kind of a whirlwind. We were basically dead in the water after we lost to Rice, and then we basically had to have a miracle happen to get in the playoffs. We had to beat Bowling by 16 at their place, which is already difficult enough. And then we also had to have Brazos beat Industrial. And as luck would have it, both things happened. We blocked a field goal at the end of the game to keep it a 17-point win against Bowling. And next thing you know, we're in the playoffs. So, and then, of course, the ending with Blanco, which was just I still haven't figured out how all that happened, but it's pretty wild. The community is crazy right now. It's a pretty fun feeling.
You mentioned kind of the winding and unlikely path to the playoffs for you guys. You guys have really been playing win or go home football for the last 3 weeks, essentially. What has the message been to your guys that has kind of sparked them on what feels like a real Cinderella run?
Well, we really felt like all year long we had a really good football team, and we had lost some games late, and we really hadn't closed games out that we felt like we could have. And in our district, it's just such a brutal district. It's a dogfight every week. We knew when realignment came out that there would be 2 or 3 good football teams not playing in the playoffs. We just tried to figure out a way not to be one of those, and it was pretty disappointing. And then we got wind at halftime that Brazos was ahead, and we were ahead by 10. It basically just lit a complete and total fire in our kids, and we found a way to get it done. And now we feel like we're playing pretty good football, and if we play good football, we think we can play with anybody.
Well, you guys are playing awfully good football right now. It's Van Vleck head coach Shannon Permenter joining us here at Texas Football today. It was you guys go to Matador Stadium in Seguin and knock off a Van Vleck team, or rather a Blanco team that was playing really good ball. You guys come up with a big play down the stretch here. How much of a game like that is hanging around and just making sure that you don't lose the game in the first quarter? How much of a game where you guys are going up against a district champion in Blanco, how much of it is about making sure that you weather the storm for the first couple of drives to allow yourself an opportunity to win this game at the end like you guys did?
Well, I think the previous week helped. Like you said, we feel like we've been playing win or go home for the last 3 weeks. And, we've been in a situation where your season is in the balance every week. And I think our kids now, it's just become second nature to them. And one thing about our kids is they never quit. They will never quit. That's been the case since I've been here, both as an assistant and as head coach. Our kids will fight until the end. And whatever happens. We feel like if we just hang in there, we're going to be okay. And sometimes we are, sometimes we're not. But I can't say enough about the grit and just the resilience of our kids and the resilience of Blanco. I mean, Blanco scored with, 25 seconds left in the game or something like that to tie it up, and then we found a way to make another play or two. And it's just been one of those deals where our kids don't quit and they don't ever give up. They think we're always in it.
Well, you guys certainly are. And one guy who has been really the tip of the spear for you guys all year long, and maybe one of the most underappreciated players in the state of Texas, Coach Corey Austin. Goodness gracious. In last week against Blanco, 338 yards and 6 touchdowns on the ground. It's just a continuation of something that he's been doing all year. He's putting up ludicrous numbers on the ground for you guys. The numbers are outrageous, but what is it about your senior running back, Corey Austin, that really makes him special?
Well, I was asked this by a coach that I used to work with. He said, "You've had a lot of really good running backs. Where does he rank?" And I think he's probably the best I've ever coached as far as everything he can do. I don't know that I've ever in 27 years played or coached a kid who he can do everything on the field. I mean, at the end of that game, we stuck him on defense and had him rushing the quarterback, and he made a play. He's just a great running back. He's got great vision, extremely strong. He's not a very big guy. He's about 5'9", 175, but I mean, he's a 400 and something pound squatter. I mean, he's just a very explosive back. And he'll be the first to tell you our offensive line this year has been tremendous. That, we returned a lot of them from last year, and they were really young last year. So they've gotten better and better and better. And the blocking's been great, but I mean, the guy's dangerous. If he gets in the open field, he's just extremely difficult to take down, and he's got good speed. He's sitting at about 2,450 yards right now in 11 games, and that's pretty remarkable. He's done some pretty cool things.
Talking with Shannon Permenter, the head coach of the Van Vleck Leopards here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, #TF Today. Coach, you had a little bit of not a roundabout way to the head job there at Van Vleck, but you were the promoted from offensive coordinator to head coach and athletic director on an interim basis when Rodney Dowell announced his retirement. You then got the interim tag taken off, and you've been the head coach there for the last 2 years. When you got the big chair and you got this opportunity to be the head coach, was this the kind of thing? Did you anticipate you would be at a place like this, playing in a second round playoff game for the first time, in 7 years? Was this the plan? Was this something you guys had anticipated?
Yeah, I mean, it really was. We felt like we've got kids that can do that. We've got good, talented kids. They're tough, and Van Vleck has high standards. I mean, we believe we should be, in the second, third, fourth round, and it's been kind of a monkey on our back about getting through the first round because we've had some early exits the last couple of years, and so that was one big goal, was to get that get that out of our system and get past the first round, and then see what can go on after that, and here we are.
And finally, Coach, one playoff win is good. Two is even better. This weekend, you guys will travel to Odom to take on a Cotulla ball club that's playing exceptionally well right now. I know you guys have been working on Cotulla so far. I don't want to ask you to give away your game plan or anything, but when you take a look at what you're up against with the Cowboys this Friday, I'm curious what you see.
They're an extremely scrappy team. They play very, very good defense. It's raining here. I don't know if that's interfering. We get a lot of rain here on the Gulf Coast. Cotulla they play so hard. They've got some really good football players. The Aldaca brothers are really good. We're going to have our hands full there. They run a little bit different defense than what we've faced in the last few weeks, so we're going to have to prepare for that. So it's going to be a battle. They're playing in the second round, so they're a good football team, and we can't take anyone for granted. And we're just going to have to play a good, clean football game.
He's Shannon Permenter. He's the head coach of the area round-bound Van Vleck Leopards. Coach, we sure appreciate your time. Congratulations again on the big win, and go get Cotulla this Friday.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. There he goes. Shannon Permenter, head coach, the Van Vleck Leopards, join us here, Texas football today. That was one of the real stunners of the week. I mean, that's a 4-over-1,
yeah,
plain and simple. And they won on a last-second touchdown pass there. And kind of, look, they are a team that I think now, going up against Cotulla, that is a too close to call type game. They could see a team, they'll see either Dilley or Tidehaven in the third round of the playoffs. Tidehaven obviously played for a state championship last year. I'll just say this about a team like Van Vleck. He mentioned that after they lost to Rice Consolidated in Week 10, it was to borrow a phrase, it was Jover. Mm-hmm. Okay, it was very over for them. They needed a win, like a resounding win, and help to get into the playoffs. They got it, and now I think there's only one thing more dangerous than a really good team, and it's a team that doesn't understand that they're supposed to lose.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? It's supposed to be over for Van Vleck. It was supposed to be over 2.5 weeks ago. And now they're in an area round matchup with a great opportunity to make it to the regional semifinals and play on Thanksgiving. That's special. And what they're doing down there in Van Vleck is special. And that's a team, I'll just say this, you don't want to play them right now.
No, absolutely
I do not think you want to play Van Vleck right now.
Nope.
So, anyway, we appreciate Shannon Permenter taking a little bit of time out from the rain down there on the Gulf Coast.
It's raining here, too.
It's raining everywhere. We are at Texas Football today. We're here Mondays and Thursdays on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at TCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. A lot of great stuff at TexasFootball.com. TexasFootball.com/playoffs. You should have it bookmarked in your Palm Pilot with tons of stuff. Updated brackets, area round pairings, everything you need for the Texas high school football playoffs at TexasFootball.com/playoffs. It was a great first week of the Texas high school football playoffs, Pickle.
It was.
I don't know if you noticed.
I did.
And we asked Trevor Bullard courageously to go through all the games on Dave Campbell's Texan Live and come up with a Dave Campbell's Texan Live top 10 plays of the week from the first round of the Texas high school football playoffs. Tough challenge.
Yeah, not easy.
I think he came through. Here is the top 10 Texas high school football plays of the week presented by our friends at Body Armor.
10 for Mack. Right up the middle, and there he goes. Carney Mack. Touchdown number 4.
16.
Miles with time, throws over the middle. Cormier makes another spectacular catch. And there he goes. Almost the entire length of the field. He will dive for the pylon and be in for a
3-2. Here, Maddox is back to pass. Crowd going nuts. He launches it deep. And the ball is intercepted to Jasper Webb with an interception to save the season for the Midland.
First play of the new drive from the 19. Potter near side, caught. Here goes Tredarian Bull. It's a foot race down inside the 30, and Tredarian Bull's gonna win it. 81 yards, touchdown Texas High.
Get back to the original line of scrimmage. Second down and 10. Corcoran looking to the sideline again and has the completion down the sideline. Welcome back, Zach Kosser, 56 yards.
Summer Creek driving. Mays looking, steps up, throws it deep, end zone, and it is caught. Touchdown, Shadow Creek.
Shotgun, looking to pass, fires downfield, and it is caught, and a touchdown. Mike Brown.
Johnson in a shotgun, man in motion, pressure up the middle, trying to set up the screen. It's intercepted. It's intercepted. It's still running for the Mustangs. Still going. And will be tackled. No, he's still up. Inside the end zone. Touchdown.
Schrader comes in motion. He's the horse going end zone. Oh, what a catch! Touchdown, Deer Park.
And in motion. Christian Mercer Jr. wanting to take it deep, but instead he'll get it out to Quentin Gibson in the flat, and he's going to try and change directions. A Tony Dorsett special, and he makes every man beat, and he is gone. See you later. Touchdown. Quentin Gibson.
There it is. Dave Campbell's Texan Live Top 10 Plays of the Week. You can find those on our YouTube page. The last one from Quentin Gibson from North Crowley. Absolutely ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely
It was
ridiculous.
such a wild catch.
You can find those on Texas or on our YouTube page, and of course see all games live on Dave Campbell's Texan Live. One person who I know was locked in on Dave Campbell's Texan Live this weekend.
Grub
is our director of recruiting.
What's
Greg
up?
Powers. What's up, man?
Yeah, it's Q for 6 right there, cashing it in.
I'm not a recruiting expert like you are, but I will just say this about Quentin Gibson. I think he's pretty good.
I think that's an understatement. I think he's one of those types of players that like anybody could be watching the game and they go, "Oh, who's that?"
Yeah, noticeable.
Yeah.
I would say that. You know what else is noticeable? I'm Greg Tepper. That's Greg Powers. This is This Week in Cruton. It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, our director of recruiting here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Follow him on Twitter at GPowersScouts. He has fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. And of course, this is brought to you by our good chicken friends at Chicken Express. Chicken Express, when the playoffs are here, it's time to get serious about your chicken intake. Chicken Express.
The intro goes so hard whenever it ends with the Chicken Express logo. Like, I don't
You're like, the football's good.
Yeah. That intro.
It's chicken. It's fried chicken.
Fried chicken. How was your first week of the playoffs, buddy?
Good. It was a good first week of the playoffs. I think it was a pretty good first week of the playoffs for everybody across the state, especially the winners. The ones that have
what a bold
the ones that have
take
moved on into round two, who will get a chance to look at this week.
That's right. We'll start with our prospect on the rise. Our prospect on the rise, a guy who's still playing.
Yep.
College Station senior athlete Braylon Wortham pulled the trigger this week to commit to Sam Houston. He had previously been committed to Louisiana Tech. He's a DCTF 3-star, has really added a new element to this College Station attack. They use him in a variety of different ways. You think that when he gets to Huntsville, he could find his way and be a mainstay on the defensive side?
Yeah, I think so. I think maybe like as a hybrid safety linebacker type, because he has that big frame. He's so quick and explosive that I can't help but think that would be really attractive on the defensive side of the ball as he grows and matures. It's just not that often that you find somebody 6'2", 6'3" in that 205, 210 pound range that can run like Wortham. I love that he also has the ability to show off his athleticism and explosiveness on the offensive side of the ball, which to me makes him even more valuable on the defensive side, or more alluring on the defensive side as a defensive prospect. Huge get, I feel like, for Sam Houston, who's doing a pretty good job in state this year, adding another tremendous, not only prospect, but this is one of the best players on one of the best teams in Texas.
Yeah, he kind of passes that eyeball test as far as like being an important player on a state championship contender. You know what I mean? If that's important to you, Braylon Wortham is certainly a playmaker in that regard, our prospect on the rise. Let's continue with, he was a commit this week, but he's not our commit of the week. That honor goes to Carrollton Rancho wide receiver Terry Shelton, who committed this week to TCU, another guy who was previously committed to a Big 12 rival in Arizona. 6'4", 205, playmaking dude is Terry Shelton, taking his talents to Fort Worth.
This is back-to-back weeks that TCU's had the commitment of the week, and they've both been basically flips from Big 12 rival programs. They did lose a commitment. Chance Abel switched his commitment from TCU to Arizona State, but that opened up a door for Shelton to step through, and he committed to TCU after taking a visit to Fort Worth over the weekend after decommitting from Arizona. Field stretching type of outside receiver, 6'4", 205 pounds, just fell shy of joining the 1,000-yard club by like 80 yards this year. So he was like right there as a 1,000-yard type of uber productive type of outside guy. Great in red zone situations. I really think that he's a guy that you can lean on whenever you're needing to try to pick up 6 points, score a touchdown instead of kicking a field goal. He's the type of receiver you need in those situations.
He is you mentioned on TexasFootball.com, you think he's a game changer for this TCU class, and a guy who, look, size-wise, he looks a lot like some of the great receivers that TCU's turned into dudes. You know what I mean?
For sure, and he draws a lot of comparisons to those guys. The rankings are split on him, kind of. There are sites that value him up around, the top 25, top 30 in the state, maybe even a little bit higher than that. So he's in that 4-star range, and he's a guy that, I think this is a big pickup for TCU. One of the guys who I feel like had a strong senior tape.
Yes, absolutely, and that certainly helped him land there in Fort Worth. It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Bowers, our Director of Recruiting here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. You can involve the conversation at #TFToday. Let's round it all out with our Underclassmen of the Week. Our Underclassmen of the Week, we're going to Prosper to talk about their junior defensive tackle, Jake Johnson. Jake Johnson put together a really nice junior tape, and as a result, he's picked up 3 offers just this past week from Texas Tech, TCU, and Toledo. He's already got a handful of other offers, including places like Baylor, North Texas, Wisconsin, and Washington State. Jake Johnson, now heading into his senior season at 6'3", 275. Prosper's really good in the trenches. We talk a lot about the offensive line, but the defensive line ain't too shabby either.
Yeah, you're right there in this one, stealing all my thunder that I'm about to talk about. Like, they've got all these big-time offensive line prospects. But on the other side of the ball, they have some guys in the trenches too, and Jake Johnson is one of those. 6'3", 275-pounder. As we're watching the highlights and I'm explaining to you what type of player he is, he's a guy who plays with tremendous pad leverage, is like that prototypical defensive tackle as you think about it in your mind. He's not too big. He's not too he's very athletic for his size, plays with good leverage, moves guys back and can play in the gap and not be moved out of a gap. So brings all the things to the table that you're looking for in a defensive tackle, and he plays with an above average motor, which is harder to find in a big body interior of the defensive front. So Jake Johnson checks a lot of the boxes. Very competitive program there. Every offensive lineman is a P4 level type of player, so practice is very spirited and competitive, and that's felt throughout the program, I think, and that's why you're starting to see more guys in the trenches at Prosper pop up. Is because iron sharpens iron, as they like to say.
Yeah, he will. When you watch the tape on him, he does a lot of the dirty work. You know what I mean? Blue collar. He's the guy who, like, at its core, a job of a defensive tackle is not even necessarily to get tackles. Right? His job is to keep linebackers clean. And when you watch his tape, the tape's inevitably going to be a lot of tackles and stuff like that. But, like, you keep watching, you're like, oh, what he's doing is he's holding the blocker and making sure he doesn't get to the next level. He is a problem up there. And as a result, it makes the whole defense better.
Yeah, shutting down lanes, funneling things through to where guys can clean up behind him. He does a tremendous job of that. He's wide. Did he not seem wide? You know what I mean? Like, did he not seem like he was playing wide on that tape? He's taking up 2 gaps just by standing there, and you're not going to push him around. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with that. He's just a dude that just, like, laces up his work boots and does the grimy stuff to help his team win.
Another guy who laces up his work boots and does the grimy stuff to help his team win is Greg Powers, our director of recruiting.
Happy to do it. Happy to do it right next to you.
Grimy.
Alongside you right here.
Grimy, the Grime Brothers. Follow him on Twitter at GPowersScouts. He has fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. It's Grimy Greg's. The Grime Corner.
I don't know about that one.
I don't think I like that one.
I don't know about that one.
Let's go over to Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment, Final Thoughts. See if anybody's got some thoughts.
Yeah. This first one is definitely addressed to me, so I'm going to go ahead and get this one out of the way.
Right.
With Llano advancing to the area playoffs, is the ban on attending Llano games for Matt Stepp and Mike Roach still in effect? You were banned. You were not allowed. We do not want you there. Please do not go. LP, allowed. Matt Stepp and Mike Roach, not allowed.
What was the final on the Crystal City game? They were up.
It was like 40-something to not much.
To 14 or something like that. Yeah.
They kind of blew him out of the water.
Does this ban go back to the Hallettsville days?
Yes, 2 times.
Hallettsville and Edna.
Edna.
They were there when they got Jonathan Brooks.
And then they were there when they got Edna.
I
was there.
Yeah. That was not good.
Anyway.
Tough scenes.
Don't, Matthew.
Okay.
Has any region ever swept the state championship or come close to doing so?
Ooh, what a great question.
That's a sick question.
That is an excellent question that I am not at liberty to speak on right now.
Sometimes I like to ask you these so that way you can put them in your Palm Pilot and we can come back to them in the off season.
It's a research project.
Yeah,
what that is.
You need to.
I'm dialed in.
Put that one down.
Oh, I'll wait.
You're like,
I want to make sure the research is right.
Well, and it's interesting because you can view region different ways. We can view region as like Region 1 or Region 2. We can also view region as like Southeast Texas. Like, for example, if Duncanville, let's just say Duncanville, DeSoto, and P&G all win the state championship this year, like they did last year, this year would be 3 wins for Region 2.
Yeah.
Even though, I don't think anybody would connect.
You would think them as Region 1.
Correct. Nobody would connect Duncanville and P&G as being in the same region.
Right.
So, I mean, there was a couple years ago.
It's got to be probably no, right?
Probably no. My guess is no. I think it's too spread out. The only way that it would work from a regional perspective, I know DFW has swept 6A and 5A before. Right?
You know where I think throws it off?
What?
Honestly, the most is going to be the 6-man games because primarily they're from West Texas.
They're Region 1 and Region 2, and those are going to be harder to come by.
I would say Region 2 probably has the most as of the past decade.
What a good question.
2 or 3. I mean, it's definitely 2 or 3.
I
would say when you're getting into 3A and 4A, it's always Region 3.
Yeah, that's true.
So
feels like we need to get into a little research project in the off season. You got one more for me?
Yeah. This might be another research one. What is the biggest point underdog upset in the playoffs ever?
Ever? Oh, what a great question.
He knows this one. I can see it.
I do, because I've got a story coming out tomorrow on TexasFootball.com about the 52 biggest upsets in the last 20 years.
Okay.
In the playoffs. Come on TexasFootball.com tomorrow. You can check that out.
So you asked for 1 and you get 52.
You get 52.
Welcome to Dave Campbell's Texas football.
I will give you a hint. It is a 6-man upset.
Okay.
From a couple of years ago, is the largest from a computer projection perspective. That is the largest upset.
Give this man your clicks. Give him all.
TexasFootball.com.
Give him all your clicks.
TexasFootball.com. You can find that story drop in tomorrow on TexasFootball.com. Anything else?
No.
You done?
Yeah.
It's gonna do it for us. Thanks, Powers.
Thanks, Griff.
Happy to be here.
Thank you, Powers. Are you ready for Thanksgiving? What a dumb question.
Come on, man.
Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbells. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbells. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Thanks again to Van Vleck head coach Shannon Permenter for being our guest and for Greg Powers for just being Greg Powers. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please meet your Player of the Year trophy. We will see you Thursday on Texas Football Today.